I heat up, I can't cool down. Got me spinning round and round, round and round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Every time you call my
David Kaylor. Tonight's show is live. Mark, we've had some reruns off and on.
We have. We've had a pretty good run of it.
Yeah,
the last
pretty good
few
run.
weeks.
But next week we are going to have a rerun.
We are.
I'm going to be at Jazz Fest in New Orleans. So.
You know, you just live the life of luxury.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, so if you have any questions for us, give us a call at 682-1430. That's 682-1430. My name is David Kaylor. I'm a criminal defense attorney. My office is located at 3001 Bartow Road in Lakeland, about a half block north of Edgewood Drive. I also have an office over in Winter Haven on Central Avenue. So if you found yourself, it was a very nice weekend. If you went out there and you had perhaps maybe a little too much fun.
A lot of people are in town.
Yeah, yes. If you had any, any
north.
black sheep cousins that came into town and did something really, really dumb and found themselves in the custody of the Polk County Jail, hopefully you've bonded them out by now. Maybe they can come on down and see me. Really, you folks, I don't know why you would go anywhere else. I mean, you've got Mark McMann over here that does family law. You got David Kaylor that does criminal defense. We do it all. If we don't know how to do it, we'll send you to somebody that does. So give us a call at 668-7223. Mark, how can they get in touch with you?
863-393-9010 or visit McMannlaw.com. That's for everything regarding family law, VA, disability appeals, as well as some probate trusts and wills and stuff.
Let me ask you this, Commissioner Bell. Does 393-9010 sound like a real number to you?
It could.
It could be, but it's...
Hey, it could. She is not. She doesn't live in Lakeland, right? So she can really speak. I will say this, however, I wanted to point this out. I hurt my neck today, and I had to call the doctor. I got a boo-boo, so I had to have an X-ray. I
Did
called
you
my
use
doctor.
the Affordable Care Act?
I did not. I refuse. I self-pay right now. I'm
Okay.
self-paying. And actually, they prefer that. It's like I'm Amish. I can go there and I can get a good, rate, and they give me all kinds of freebies. It's actually in the long run pretty good. Because actually, I checked into one of those exchanges. It would cost me a $5,000 deductible for the year and like $500 a month. I'm like, that math doesn't seem right because I won't spend $5,000 in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the brilliance. But anyway, I looked at the number to Watson Clinic, 393.
All right. Well, if you say so. Anyway, on the show today, we have Melony Bell. Melony is a former mayor of Fort Meade, served in that capacity for about 6 years and was on the commission at Fort Meade for 14 years. She has been on the county commission for the last 4 years and served as the most, past chairperson or chairman of the county commission and is up for re-election this year. Ms. Bell, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here. Appreciate it.
No, we're happy to have you. I'm sorry it's taken so long to get you on. Melanie, I want to begin with, I was on Polk Leadership a year or so ago, a couple years ago, I guess, and you told the story about how you came to be involved in local politics. And actually, you didn't start out trying to be involved in local politics. And it's just kind of, to me, a sort of a neat story. It sort of encapsulates what is good about the American-style democracy. So just sort of walk us through that. It's a neat story.
Well, I was telling you earlier, I was working for the state. I'm an auditor, retired actually from the state, and was a mother of two daughters, young girls, and my husband's a agricultural guy. We're a bee business company, but I was teaching Sunday school and a little bit involved in the Junior Women's League, and my mother called out of the blue and said that there was a private prison company wanting to move to Fort Meade, start up business, and it was going to be for habitual offenders. And she said, you're going to be raising your daughters here, so you need to get involved and find out what kind of prison. And I said, Mom, there's nothing we can do. I said, if it's a done deal, it's a done deal. And she goes, well, you need to go to the meeting and find out. So I did. Went to a meeting, and actually there were so many people, they couldn't hold it at City Hall. They ended up having it at the community center. And I just sat there and listened, and eventually I got up and just asked some questions. What type of prison, where was it coming from and all. And after the meeting, I was swarmed by all these people that come over to me and said, we need a leader. We need somebody to help us fight this prison. Said, it's pretty much a done deal that, the city commissioners are bought into it. They even... This is a private prison company. They had flown the Planning and Zoning Board members, some of them out to see the prison, but never showed them a prison. They took them to a country club upstate New York. And so they
federal
said,
prison, maybe.
Yeah. So they said, we need your help. And I said, well, let me think about it. I've never done anything like this. And so I did. I came back and said, we've got to get a good attorney. And we did. And we registered with the Supervisor of Elections to become a political activist group. And we were called CAPS, Citizens Against Prisons. And we actually fought City Hall, the city commissioners. We got them to put it on a ballot, have a special referendum, which we usually don't have that in our charter, but they allowed it. And they said, we will listen to the people. And they did, voted down the prison.
The commissioners did.
The commissioners voted it down. Well, the people first spoke, and it was so messed up. It was vote yes if you don't want a prison, vote no if you vote no if you do want one. It was.
Who wrote the
opposite.
language? The people trying to get the prison?
It was the city attorney.
Yeah.
So I helped him write it. So, but it was the people. I mean, they.
Do you think he was writing in such a fashion to where
It was.
that they were trying to make it so that the prison would be approved because people would not read the.
I agree.
It's very confusing. I'll be honest with you, Melanie. And Mark, that you go in there and you read these. I'm a lawyer. This is what I do for a living, and I go in there and they had however many amendments on the ballot.
2 years ago,
a couple of years ago, they had some crazy amount, and the language went on and on and on. I had to read them, some of them 3 or 4 times before I could figure it out.
Okay. Well, we stood out there. Our group stood out there amongst the voters, and when they'd come up, and we would educate them how to vote. It's confusing. So when you go in there, make sure.
So if you don't want the prison, vote yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that was. So we educated the voters, and I believe it came back. The vote was like 80% of the citizens did not want it, and it just got really messed up during that time because this private prison company had promised the local car dealerships and the local furniture shops that they would buy everything from them, buy local, and all. So it was a tough decision. But for our town, I think it was the best decision that I made to get involved to, stop that. And they, long story short, they went on to another city here in the county and ended up closing their doors and filed bankruptcy. So it turned out to be a big mess.
A good decision made by the citizens of Fort Meade.
Did you get negative blowback from those
did.
companies as well as perhaps some of the city commissioners? And if you did, what kind?
I did. It started dividing the town a little bit, and
Because this could have created some jobs for some folks there.
it could have, and that was I'm all about economic development. I mean, the more jobs, the better. We have so many people out of work, and back then there were a lot of people that was out of work. And there's some still negativity there because people that work for jails, I said, I could have had a local job, and it was some hard decisions, but I think it was the best thing for Fort Meade. Fort Meade's just a small town. It has its just wonderful qualities of life there. I choose to live in a small town. I choose to drive 20 miles when I come up here to Lakeland. It's just a small niche that is hard to understand if you don't live there.
No, it's got a wonderful sense of community. When you go down there, you just feel it. It's just a neat little town.
I agree. When somebody's in hurting or needs aid, the whole town comes out.
Did you get the political bug at that point? And what year was this?
Well, that was back in 1995.
Okay.
And so we ended up, the prison moved on, and about 8 months later, there was a position coming up on the city commission. And these people that I helped came back to me and said, would you run for city commissioner? And I said, I don't know. I'll have to talk to my husband and think about it, pray about it. I said, I'm not sure. I've never done this before. And they said, well, please do, and then get back with us. I said, I've never run a campaign. They said, well, if you will run, we will run your campaign for you.
So the locals helped.
The locals helped, and I was just amazed at the people that got behind me.
Did you get opposition?
I was running against an incumbent, actually.
Really?
That seat was still there, and they wanted me to run. And that person wasn't going to run because he got caught up in the prison mess, but then decided to run. So I ended up running against him and won, and stayed on the commission ever since.
Wow.
All right, folks, we've got to take a break, and we'll be right back with Commissioner Melony Bell.
Imagine.
And McMann, PA. Commissioner, where were you born?
I was born in Winter Haven.
All right. How long has your family been in Polk County?
I am a sixth generation Floridian.
That's impressive. Mark's been here for about, 5 years?
5 years. I came with a gold chain and a silk shirt unbuttoned to my navel, as you like to say, from South Florida.
He's from Broward County.
Yeah. When I was 12. I left when I was 12. So I've lived, I'm 38 now. It's been 22 years.
Yeah, I don't know. My family's been here since the 40s, so I guess compared to you,
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a newcomer. Anyway, tell us about your district.
I have a huge district. Actually, if you know this county, it's huge. It's over 2,200 square miles.
Bigger than the
this
state of
county.
Delaware.
Bigger than the state of Delaware. And my district is almost half that size. And we go by population, so you can imagine I've got less population down on the south end of the county. But I have 5 municipalities in my district. If you start with Bartow, Lake Wells, Frostproof, Fort Meade, and Mulberry. So I represent District 2. However, I'm voted in countywide, so
Right.
I represent everybody in Polk County.
That's a lot of driving
That
around.
is a lot of driving. How do you? Are
lot of
your
driving.
kids grown now?
I do. I just had one daughter married
Okay.
last weekend, and my youngest daughter is graduating from college this 2 weeks from now.
Congratulations. How much time, years ago, I can't remember the fellow's name, something Smith, was it?
Dewey
Smith. And they passed this, and it's like feel-good legislation or feel-good balloting where they say, well, let's cut their pay in half and, do these. I don't expect you to comment on this, but they cut the pay of county commissioners in half and imposed term limits, but they didn't cut the work in half. Tell us how much time you spend working for the citizens of Polk County every week.
This is a full-time job to me. As I told you earlier, I retired from my other jobs, so when I ran for this job, I said it would be full-time. I work no other jobs. I do help my husband some accounting work with his business and all, but I probably put in at least 50, if not 60 hours a week. I start out usually every day doing a breakfast in the morning time with a Rotary or Kiwanis or somebody every morning, usually at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'm back home about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night because I'm usually doing a dinner every night.
And what's the salary?
$41,000.
And that's a decent salary. That's fine. But what is the budget of Polk County?
$1.3 billion.
$1.3 billion. And so the voters passed this ballot initiative however many years ago that we are now paying our county commissioners something consistent with what somebody who works as as
New
a
school teacher.
new school teacher, which granted, I mean, school teachers are underpaid as well,
Right.
but it's just
Well, the hours you're putting in.
It's just crazy.
You go to a lot of dinners, too.
A lot of dinners.
yeah, that's you're not even counting that. I mean, it's
No.
just it's just,
Everybody wants a little piece of my time. And
Sure.
being chairman last year, people don't realize that I'm no longer chairman, and they're still asking me to come do speeches and all over this county. If I leave my home in Fort Meade and go all the way up to North Poinciana, it's an hour and 45 minutes for me to drive.
Melanie, and by the way, folks, Commissioner Bell was not complaining about her salary.
No,
I know
no,
she
it's all
wasn't.
right.
No, she's happy to serve. But I just, we have this situation here where, and I'm very pleased with the makeup of the county commission. We've had great commissioners. I don't know that we've had a bad one in many, many years. But we do somewhat limit the ability of folks to, if you've got somebody that's a CPA, for instance, and wants to make a career change, he or she can't just walk away from their practice and a lot of people are prepared to go into public service and take a big pay cut. But some people simply can't afford to do it. And it's just nothing. I guess you guys are stuck. You can't raise your pay cut.
And I agree. If you're wanting quality people, you're going to need to raise the pay to get those people, because there's 3 commissioners on the commission right now that have other jobs, full-time jobs, and I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, they don't.
And they're good commissioners.
They're wonderful commissioners.
But they don't have any family life, I could tell you that.
Yeah, and so anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So tell me if you can, when you decided to run for county commission, we talked about a platform off the air. What was your platform, and has that carried over? What is important to you as a county commissioner?
It has. First of all, coming from a small town, and Fort Meade has not had a county commissioner represent them in 68 years. Was
Wow.
the last county commissioner. Actually, it was Judge Dale Durance's father.
Okay.
That was a county commissioner there. So I my platform was to keep all small towns in mind. We have 17 municipalities in here and probably 3 major cities. If you think about, we have Winter Haven, Lakeland, and Haines City are probably the largest, in Bartow, and then Lake Wells. But I wanted to keep the small town charm in the county and keep abreast of what they need and their needs. But then also, in doing so, I wanted to make sure that our larger cities are taken care of also. So it's just a balancing act. But my platform was to bring jobs, and we have the county commission now. We have looked at moratoriums on impact fees, and we felt it was very important to be in competition with other counties. We needed to actually, be able to do business here in Polk County. So we've been able to do that. As you know, Amazon is going to open up their doors soon. They're starting to hire, CSX, Legoland. I worked real hard with Polytech, making sure that our 12th university did happen here in the county.
Oh, what an amazing achievement that is. People have no idea what the impact is going to be in the next decades to come.
Look at UCF.
It's going to be extraordinary. But you're coming from Fort Meade, Mulberry, representing that part of the county. you've named a bunch of different developments. Well, none of them are in your district. I mean, how do you deal with that?
CSX is in my district.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right.
And I got real involved with CSX from the beginning, and I know it's a double-edged sword because of the train traffic.
Yeah,
it's
I live
gonna
about a
bring in.
mile away from it.
I'm
so.
sorry, but it's bringing jobs, and hopefully in 2 or 3 years we'll see the outbuild where they're going to build warehouses. It's just not going to be a dropping off point there and then reloading. That they're going to have warehouses where technology will come in. They need to put together different mechanical things or computers, and so hopefully there will be warehouse build out.
How have you all gone about doing that? When I say that, bringing the businesses in, did you all get together? Teamwork, or how do you reach out? How do you find these people that they're even looking for?
Well, you as a taxpayer and a business owner, you pay a business fee once a year, and that funding goes to Central Florida Economic Development Council. It is our economic tool that we use, and David Petter's our executive director, and he's all over this county, and he is going to trade shows. He's out there all the time looking for businesses that's wanting to go somewhere with low taxes, low impact fees that they can set up and do business. When I was running for county commissioner, there was a person that wanted to put in a hamburger shop in one of the larger cities that I named. And those impact fees, before even flipping the first hamburger, his impact fees were going to be $85,000. Wow. Now, that's a lot of hamburgers you're going to have to flip to make that up. So that's what we're looking at. Small business makes up America, and we need to always be, on the lookout and however we can help business.
Yeah, a good point, because we always talk about, and it's great that we're talking about the Amazons, and certainly all love Publix, but the small business is the job creator in our system. I mean, and sometimes people forget about us. I feel that way sometimes.
And I agree. And in my district is more agricultural. We have a lot of citrus in that, cattle. And I mentioned earlier, my husband's agricultural. He's a beekeeper, apiary guy, and
how are you guys getting along with the Grove owners? I heard there was a bit of a war.
He is the mediator for them.
Is he really?
Yeah,
okay.
He was appointed by the Division of Agriculture out of Putnam's, Commissioner out of Putnam's office, and my husband is not a Mr. Melony. I have to tell you that, but he's just done a great job and working with the Grove owners and finding out when they're going to do their spraying and all, and not having bees in there.
Let me ask you a question. We'll jump off topic here. Because I know that the Grove owners need the beekeepers, and the beekeepers honestly need the Grove owners. It gives me yet another example of, I think, the existential threat that's posed to the citrus industry by this greening. I mean, I don't think people realize how scary this is, and it's just not the groves. What would it do to the real estate market if all this land came upon the market? And then you folks like what your husband does. It's frightening. Are y'all scared?
It's very frightening. In fact, my husband just got back from California. He is a commercial beekeeper, so he pollinates for Ocean Spray and different companies throughout the United States, southeastern United States. But the shape the groves are in and all, he decided to go to California this year to send bees because they don't have enough bees for their almond pollination there, and they can't get insurance. Through the government says you're not going to get insurance unless you have all these beehives, and there's not enough bees, wild honey bees there. So they paid beekeepers to go in there. So he took a chance and went to California, took 2 loads in, and they don't have red ants. And he was so concerned if they'll stop you at the border if there's one ant on the bed.
Oh my gosh!
And so they found an ant on the second load. However, this truck had sat in an ice storm in Dallas for 3 days, so I couldn't imagine an ant being on there. But they eventually let them through. But California doesn't like Florida because agriculture, we're such in competition with them and all. But they're begging for bees there, and that's the way Florida's going to be eventually. We need the Grove owners, and the Grove owners need us.
Yeah, this greening thing, we're hearing about it, but I'm not sure we're hearing about it as much as we should, because it's not just going to affect the citrus groves. It's going to have a cascading effect throughout our economy.
It is, and if we don't have enough bees, if you've ever seen Whole Foods, their commercial in their vegetable stand market, without a bee, there's not many vegetables there.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with just a moment with Commissioner Melony Bell.
Today,
I have County Commissioner and former chairperson of the County Commission, Melony Bell, on the show tonight. She has been serving the citizens of Polk County faithfully for the last 4 years, and she is up for election this year. So, Melony, take this opportunity to talk about some of the accomplishments that you have been part of over the last 4 years and what you're planning for the next 4.
I would say probably the proudest accomplishment I've done is the tourist development tax. As you know, if somebody comes into this county and spends the night in a hotel, they pay 5 cents on the dollar on heads and beds tax. And that money goes to fund marketing Polk County. How do we bring more people into Polk County, in our hotels, which is very important. Back in 1987, though, when that tax was voted in, the citizens of Polk County voted that they wanted 15% of the first 2 pennies to go towards the arts. And it did at that time, but we got away from it more and more and more and started putting more funding into the sports arena of Polk County. Now, sports is awesome for Polk County. It brings heads and beds. If you've just experienced Russ Matt in the Winter Haven area, you know that they bring in these college students. Very important to do that because our hotelers are so important. However, I think it's important here in the county. Tech, the hospital's going to a teaching hospital in Lakeland. It has to be about the arts and the quality of life here. I may not be a museum hugger. I do love the Polk Museum of Art. We love visual arts. We go to Tampa all the time. I just went to Winter Haven, saw the Dixie Swim Club there Friday night. A lot of great talent in this county, and we need to promote it better. We need to bring in more arts. And so this past year, I got my colleagues on the county commission to go back and revisit that first ordinance back in 1987, and they went back and we passed a policy and an ordinance that we would give 2% of or 15%, I'm sorry, the first 2 pennies back to the arts, and we're generating about $450,000 a year, and it's been going back to all, it's a grant application. You've got to prove that you're bringing tourism in, not heads and beds, but tourism. You're bringing them across the line. And we're able to put that money back into the arts throughout the county. And the recipients, there's been probably over 25 here in the county, and it's been, the love has been spread throughout the whole county on these grants. I've established a board, an Arts Council board of 22 members on there. They're not all arts people. We have attorneys on there. We have bankers. We have business people on there that's looking at this as an economic development piece. How can we improve Polk County and the quality of life?
It's an interesting thing that you talk about there because when a lot of people, when they're thinking, well, we want to get jobs here. Obviously, if you're in one particular field, you're looking for one thing. If you're in a different field, you're looking for something else. Obviously, if you've got a tech like a Microsoft or something like that, they're going to love the fact that we have Polytech here. But if you're a business, you are going to be concerned about the art scene and the downtown scene in Lakeland and that sort of stuff. And we talked about this with Colleen Burton, who was on the show, and with John Shannon, who was on the show. And basically, anybody that comes on the show, we're all for lower taxes. I'm a Republican, have been so for well over a decade, and I certainly like my government to spend money efficiently. But I know that we need good schools and we need good roads. And sometimes that's a bit of a tough sell for you because one of the first things that a business coming in is going to be there. I don't know how much necessarily that maybe the guy that's looking at it, but there's going to be a parent that is involved in that decision. They're going to look up and see how good these schools are. So how do you find that balance? I know you must struggle with that as a mom and as a county commissioner. These are the sort of things that are very near and dear to your heart.
And I agree. But we're not taking the general tax money and putting it towards the arts. We're taking the Tourist Development Council's money that people come into Polk County. We're taking that money. But education is where it starts. You're talking about good schools and all. How do we improve the quality of life here in Polk County? It starts with education, number one. And I think if you're educated, then you have a love for some type of art. And you need a balance there. I know that trying to keep professionals with the county, our top jobs, they want to know, what is your downtown like? What the quality of life is going to be for my family, to raise a family here in Polk County. So it's very important. You're talking about, taxes. We need better roads. We need better schools. But there needs to be a diverse out there that we're spending our money wisely, efficiently, because, I'm a Republican also and very conservative Republican. But we need, you've got to spend money to make money here in the county.
When you got in, did you notice government is so much different than the private sector in the sense that what we've talked about many times is it needs to grow in order to justify its existence. So therefore, we got to spend all this money, otherwise we're not going to get the same amount next year. That kind of mentality. Did you notice that? And
Oh yeah, I have.
How'd you deal with that?
But it's been
Gotta be
good on the
frustrating.
county commission because we've had to cut budgets each
Sure.
year.
And you know what? And the world did not come to an end.
It did not come to an end, and we've cut over $40 million out of our budget. And yes, we have awesome employees. I'll have to tell you that our Polk County employees are great. In the beginning, when I came on the commission, we were asking the employees to give blood because we said you've got to do 2 or 3 jobs. Now they're doing 3 and 4 jobs. I kid about them, giving bone marrow now. But have you seen it as a constituent citizen here in Polk County? Have you seen any type of?
No, I have not seen a reduction in services at all, and that is a testament to the work of the county commission and all the folks out there that have been doing double duty. Going back to, I've told this story before, but we were doing in Polk leadership, we were taking tours of the various municipalities, including Fort Meade, and I loved actually. I mean, I'm a Winter Haven guy, and I lived in Lakeland for well over 10 years, but I loved taking the tours of the smaller towns, and we were in Frostproof. And this is right as we're starting to come out of the Great Recession. And we were talking to the city manager. Well, the city manager, when they had to cut all these jobs, the city manager was doing the job of the city manager and the assistant city manager and the public works director, and the public works director was doing the job of some of the sanitation crew, and none of them were complaining. They were just like, hey, it needed to be done. And I think their budget was cut by 30 or 40%, something drastic. And I thought to myself, you know what? The federal government could learn a lot from Frostproof. And I am so proud of the various local governments and the county government, Polk County, of what we have come through, and nobody's complained about it. Just like, hey, we're going to do what we got to do. We got to get through this. And folks, we have good government here in Polk County. We really, really do have good government at the state. Obviously, some of the things that have happened at the city level in Lakeland, I'd like to see some changes, but that's neither here nor there.
That just can't help tourism for the county.
No. We want to stay out of the paper if we can.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Okay, so the tourist development issue. What else would you like to talk about, Commissioner?
Well, jobs. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. As a commission, we put out last year. It was a vote for the citizens to decide whether they wanted these tax abatements. That if a business is coming to town like Amazon, what can we offer you? Over a 10-year span. You're going to be here 10 years, and you're going to prove that you have high-wage, high-quality jobs. And you have so many, then you're going to get some type of abatement over a 10-year span. Now, if you we're not going to give it to you up front. You have to prove that to us throughout, each year. So that's, the people said, yes, we wanted it. So we put that in effect. And our Economic Council Development is doing a great job here in the county.
Yeah, he was at a Rotary meeting a week or 2 ago. The guy's just dynamite.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How has it changed compared to when you took office? I mean, I'm sure there were efforts out there, but was it really ginned up since and geared
yes. Oh, yeah. It has changed tremendously. I mean, we have actually redone the Economic Development Council. We've made it more of a pay-to-play instead of when I came on with the Development Council. Actually, I was a member just at large, serving on it from the city of Fort Meade. I just showed up. It was a warm body. We have revamped that Economic Development Council that if you're a business, you pay a due, and in these dues you get to play more in this. You have more skin in the game, and that's what we need. We don't need warm bodies serving on these boards. We need people there that business minded that says, this is what we need in our area. This is going to come in. I own warehouses. This is going to bring so many jobs in to fill my warehouses, and that's what we needed. We needed more skin in the game.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with Commissioner Melony Bell.